Alright, so I just noticed you just on the intro of the video where I said I'm doing a 1,000 subscriber giveaway, which is a paddleboard, and you still didn't subscribe. So I just had to see what's going on, because there's no reason you should just not pause the video right now, or take the moment while the video is paused and just subscribe. And then you can watch till the end of this video to see how you can enter the win after subscribing. Alright, you can continue watching. Alright, in today's paddleboard review video, we're going to be going over the red paddleboard. It's the 11'3" Sport MSL. And we're going to be looking at a couple of different things. Obviously doing a full review, my personal thoughts on the pros and cons, the dimensions, who this board is for, and the most important question, is it worth all the money? Which we'll be answering, since this board does cost $999 or pounds over in UK, because that's where Red Paddleboard Co. is based out of. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into the paddleboard review. So firstly, we have the all-terrain backpack, which you'll notice that I'm unzipping the board out of. It has the wheels at the bottom. It's very durable material, and you can definitely tell this is a high-end board compared to some of the $300, $400, $500 boards that we get. So getting right into it, we have the board that's deflated. And then we have side rails. I don't know the exact name for these, but these are side rail inserts into the side rails that helps with the structure of it and durability. And then we have the awesome, I don't know how many inches this fin is. I need to look that up. I'll have it in the video right here how big this fin is and some of the other details. But one of the most important features of any paddleboard accessory is the paddle. And we have a carbon fiber paddle with a, I believe it's a hybrid at the end with the nylon. But it's a three-piece, just like any other paddleboard. And some of the other features that or accessories that your board comes with is a phone holder, awesome service kit, which has a variety of different things inside of here with a valve tightening tool, some other layers of patching, and we have replacement knobs. And I believe if you ship overseas, you can't include glue, but it's just a PVC adhesive is what it comes with typically. And then we have the standard coiled ankle leash, which comes with just about any other board. But beyond that, that's everything that your board will come with. But just to sum up the backpack, you can see it's a normal backpack. Typically, you can have your pump on the back right here, which, let's not forget about the Titan 2 pump right here. And then we have the Titan 2 pump, which I believe is a triple action pump. And it's very compactable, so all the handles screw off, or they come off at least. Insert the either push through, or can't quite remember. Okay, there we go. So you'll push it right through and the handle comes off. And these slide up and slide down pretty easily. The hose comes off. So you can really easily have this pump with your backpack at all times. But we'll be putting this bad boy to the test here in a little bit to see how great this pump actually is. And as you see, the board is inflatable and deflated at the moment right here. And the first thing we're going to do is test that Titan 2 pump. And we'll get right into the paddleboard right after that. All right, so with the Titan 2 pump, there's a couple different things to keep in mind. You have the isolation switch, which will switch it from the 2-chamber to 1-chamber to allow you to easily pump it up once it starts getting harder. So you rotate it counterclockwise to start out with, and then you turn it the other way. This switches just to the 1-chamber, so it gets easier as you pump it up. But let's see how fast this board pumps up. With it only being 4.7 inches in depth, it does have less volume than the typical paddle board. So we'll see how it matches up. Gonna start a timer. All right. So we're at 7 minutes and 15 seconds is what it took to pump up this board all the way up to 15 PSI, which the average PSI is around 15. It definitely is pretty good. it didn't feel as hard to pump out this board as some other ones, even though it took just as long. I feel like that the Titan 2 pump really optimizes, or like each stroke just feels more efficient as far as like air being pulled in. So that's really nice because you're not as worn out. But I always recommend getting an electric pump just because of, if you're doing this every day and you're doing it more as like a hobby, it does save you some time, especially if you're not really fit as is. It definitely is a workout before you even get started working out on the water. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get into some of the features of this board and start talking a little bit more about it. All right, so now let's talk more about the MSL 11'3" paddle board. And obviously in the name, it's 11'3" in length. It is 32 inches in width and 4.7 inches in depth, which when you're looking at competitor boards and other brands, you'll notice that 4.7 isn't super common, but it allows this board to be a lot more agile and actually add a little bit more stiffness. So with the has a max rider weight at around 240 to 250 pounds. And as far as weight of the board, it is just a fraction of that, being about 10%, which is phenomenal. This is a lightweight board, perfect for carrying around. All the accessories and the gear and the actual final weight of the bag is relatively heavy because you get so much more stuff. But in terms of this board and who it is for and what it is a moderate touring board. And what I mean by that, it is a versatile touring board. While not being a complete versatile board as far as covering anything and everything and being a budget board, it is definitely meant more for touring and not racing though. So it's definitely in that sort of fine line and that space in between there. So as far as, you know, like I said, this board is meant for a variety of different things, but let's get into some of the other benefits, features, and other things like that. And right here we do have these side battens that go into the side rails. You're supposed to actually put these in at 1 PSI and then inflate it fully, but you know, just for presentational purposes, wanted to show them off of the board right here. And we'll get into how you insert them in a moment. So let's go ahead and see the insertion process. All right, so now that you saw how they're inserted and what they do, let's get into the rest of the features of the board. So number one, if we're starting at the front end, you do have a front carrying handle and a rear carrying handle, which is great. You always want one in the back, one in the front. It makes carrying a lot easier, especially if you're, you know, going fishing, going out for a long trip and have a lot of weighted stuff and you're going with a friend. It makes it a lot easier to carry. And we have a screw in up front, which, you know, you can screw cameras in, mounts into a variety of different things. You can screw up there. We do have a bungee system, which is highly durable, which a lot of boards you do see the small tiny strings as bungee systems and storage area. With this type of storage, it's just long lasting, and that's what you're paying for right here, is a high quality long lasting board. So you don't want something that's going to break after a year or come undone. So just, and plus you have a lot of storage area right here overall. And we have the middle carrying handle, obviously when you're going solo, makes it easy to carry. And then we have this huge deck pad, and it is fantastically branded all over, and it has a very nice pattern. And then we have the diamond deck pad as well. So lastly, the valve, of course. But the last thing to talk about as far as features with this board is on the back side. So let's go ahead and flip it over and get right into the fin. Now on the bottom of the paddleboard, there's only a couple things worth mentioning. And number one, we have the 9-inch touring fin, which we've already discussed slightly. Which there's only one, which you only need one on the touring board, so it's absolutely perfect, highly durable, and with the screw-in technology that it has, it stays in place and you don't have to worry about it falling off. The second thing worth mentioning is at the very back end of the board, there's a thing called a speed tail, which is this rubber piece that's adhered to the bottom back of the board. Which is what this does is reduce the water drag that it creates as the water leaves the back end of the board, allowing you to glide and flow across the water. But with all the features being talked about, let's really see what you get when you buy a red paddleboard. And what I mean by that is some of those little extras, and that what really adds on the price. Number one, it's going to be that 5-year warranty. And when you're looking at competitors, that is extremely rare. There's probably only a handful of competitor brands that offer a 5-year paddleboard warranty on their boards. And what that really is a testament to their quality, because they're very confident that their board will last over 5 years. And if not, you get it replaced. So that really gives you a lot more comfort and a lot longer use out of this board than a lot of other competitor brands that are only offering 1, 2, or 3-year warranties. So when you're purchasing a board like this, you want it to last. And what's the point of buying a $500 board if you're only going to get 2 years out of it when you can buy this? So it's an absolutely phenomenal touring board, and Red Paddleboard is really confident in its technology that's implemented. And one of those is a Tech Air technology, which is how it's all constructed and the durability of it, which is extremely rigid. And there's a lot of features on this board that adds rigidness and sturdiness. And when we're talking about long-lasting boards, it's exactly what you want, is a board that offers that. Now, the question I asked at the beginning of the video was, is it worth the price that it's at, being 1,000 pounds, which is slightly over that in US dollars, or it's right around there at the same price of 1,000 US dollars. And the answer to that question definitely depends on you, the viewer, and what you're looking for. Because if you're looking for a high-class touring board that's going to last you 5 years, it is 100% worth the money. But if you're looking for a budget-in touring board, or just slowly starting to get into it, there are cheaper options. But like I said, there's a lot of things that you're paying for that you don't directly see when you're purchasing a board like this. But the last thing to do is get on the water and talk a little bit more about performance. Now, when purchasing a board like this, there's a couple things that you have to keep in mind about where you're going to be paddleboarding on a board like this. And that's going to be canals, oceans, lakes, any big bodies of water that has some depth to it and not a lot of obstacles is what this board's meant for. If you're going to be doing whitewater paddleboarding or even river paddleboarding, I don't recommend this board, because one of the things in that performance category is maneuverability, which this thing is not built for, and it does not maneuver well. I'm not saying it doesn't maneuver good for a touring board, which it does, but in relation to a lot of other different boards, that's what I'm comparing to. And what it lacks in maneuverability, it really makes up in holding a line. Because it's built for that, it does a great job. And what that means is that you can paddle on the same time 4, 5, 6 times and still be highly relatively straight. And what that does is allow you to conserve energy, be more efficient, gain speed, and a lot of other huge benefits. And because of this, the rigidness and the sturdiness of this board, it really adds a lot of comfortability when you're standing on it. Because as far as how it balances and how it feels great. Because you can hardly notice a lot of these waves that are coming in slightly. It just feels very natural, because it handles them very well, essentially. But with that being said, that gets all of my review, feature, pros, cons out of the way. So I highly recommend you check out a lot of my other content that I have up on my channel, which I'll be posting a lot more videos here now, and I have a plethora of other paddleboards to review. But with that in mind, I want to let you guys know I am doing a giveaway of one paddleboard, a couple electric paddleboard pumps, and a couple other paddleboard accessories. You'll see the links down in the description that will tell you a little more about that. I've actually done a video on it, but I'll tell you right now, the first step to it is that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I'll be doing the giveaway once I hit 1,000 subscribers. And you'll follow me on Instagram and send me a screenshot that you've subscribed. But with that being said, I'll see you guys on the next adventure.